guys, welcome back to OCO Social Impact Podcast, where we are here to equip today's social impact leaders one day at a time. In today's video, we're going to be talking about brand identity and how to protect your brand. And with there being so many influencers and content creators and brands that are out on social media and in this digital space, you want to make sure that you are protecting your organization's identity online and in person as you are developing the core program and services for your organization. So as we delve into this content, this is not necessarily legal advice. Please make sure that you do your due diligence to go and seek out legal counsel as necessary. I am not an expert in this industry, but I do want to share a few tips that I believe will be helpful for you guys, especially if you are limited in understanding as to what it is that you need to do to protect your organization's brand. So when we talk about brands, we're talking about the logo, the typography, the colors, the website, any intellectual property or ideas, any specific patents and things that have been created that your organization was responsible for creating. Again, we're not going to get into necessarily like the legal jargon, if you will. You are responsible to go and do your due diligence and research. But the important point is to make sure that you are doing your research so that you know what areas that you need to protect yourself. And as you are engaging with developing your nonprofit or your social enterprise, I highly encourage you guys to do this on the earlier stages or in the earlier stages of developing your organization versus on the latter stages where now you have the platform, you have the viewership, you have the target population that are now coming to you for your programs, services, or products and so forth. So again, I just want to drive home that where you may be in the development stages of your organization is different, but if you believe that this is going to be something that's going to change lives, that's going to really make an impact, I would highly encourage you to start thinking about how you want to protect yourself as you step out into the public space, or you step out online, or whatever means that your organization is going to take. So one of the first things that I did before I launched OCO on my YouTube as well as TikToks and the different platforms was I took the time to do some research and figure out what organization structure and business entity works best for my needs. So before I started putting out videos, I had taken the time to just do a little research to figure out what business entity that I wanted to look into, and I currently have legal protection for myself, so I have protected OCO and all of the intellectual property and different things that I personally curate, so that if anything happens down the road or anything comes about, I am able to protect myself in court. God forbid that ever has to happen. But the point is, when you have some form of legal protection, there are different levels to it, but having that protection in place is very necessary. And so if you are engaging in figuring out how to establish yourself, the first point that you want to think about is determining your entity structure. In one of my videos, which I'll link in the description box, I talked about the different 501c types. There are over 20 501c types, but a lot of these organizations are for those that want to engage in some form of doing good or social impact work with the tax benefits that the 501c type entity structures have. Now, depending on the needs of your organization, a nonprofit or a 501c type may not be the best option for you. You may need to form an LLC. You may need to have a DBA that you can then turn into an LLC. You may want to do a S Corp or whatever other business entity that your organization may need. So yes, a lot of people that are interested in doing social impact work, they naturally gravitate to, okay, I need to go file for 501c3 status. But I don't think people realize that there are so many business structures that may be better suited for your organization versus a traditional nonprofit model such as the 501c3. You can go check out my video where I briefly go into detail about each of the 501c types. And like I said, I'll have that linked in the bio so you guys can check that out, or it'll be right here at the top where you guys can check out that video above. The second point that we're going to talk about briefly today is once you have done your research, you have talked to the proper legal counsel, you've got guidance on what entity structure is best for your organization's needs. Now you go and file all of the fees and do all of the paperwork. Now you have to make sure that you're implementing your bylaws. So when you are filing for a 501c3 organization entity, you have to have your articles of incorporation, and these are just general bylaws that lets the government know how you plan to deal with different situations as they arise, especially when it comes to who is responsible for certain elements of your organization. Once you have those bylaws, I would encourage you to really go back and review those and figure out how you want to actually set certain things up to protect yourself. Is that having a lawyer? Is that having someone that you can go and work with and get legal counsel and advice on when it comes to certain situations? Is that hiring a someone with a CPA, a tax accountant, or whatever key players you feel like you need to make sure that your organization is protected? But the point is making sure that you actually abide by the articles of incorporation that your organization submitted to the government is important, and figuring out the day-to-day and how you want to take the time to protect yourself is important as well. In addition to figuring out the organizational type that your organization is best suited for, you also want to think about protecting your brand elements, which I've briefly talked about in this video and other videos. Your brand logo, the typography, the colors, any slogans, any intellectual property that may be related to the success of your organization. You can look into trademarks, patents, and any copywriting or anything that may be related to what your organization needs. And again, taking legal advice and going and talking to proper legal counsel will be important in that journey. The final point that we're going to briefly talk about here today is having legal representation and resources readily available. When you are wanting to establish something that is going to be generational, you must take the time to protect it. And this is not, the fun part of being a business owner or a nonprofit leader or a social entrepreneur, but it is something that is very necessary. There are so many people doing so many of the same things in the same industries, and so you have to understand what separates these companies, what keeps them distinguished from one another, because there is in some cases enough room at the table, especially when you are engaging in social impact work. And so with that, you should take the time to build your cabinet, I call it, of advisees or counsel that help you with different things that you may need depending on the needs of your organization, which I briefly talked about in this video. That can be having an attorney, you can have a tax advisor, someone that is good with navigating a program evaluation, so maybe having an evaluator that can help you manage the nuts and bolts of making sure you're in compliance depending on the different target populations that you're serving. Your board of directors can also be kind of advisee group that you can work with when it comes to internal things. You can have a consultant or a group of consultants that your organization frequently works with, where they understand the nature of what you do, how you do it, and why you do it, and they can come in and support you in different areas that you may need. So I believe personally that every business owner, nonprofit leader, or social entrepreneur should have their own quote unquote cabinet. If you think about the president of the United States, or any key leader of different nations, they have an advisory board, they have a cabinet, a group of individuals that help them make key decisions that affect millions of people. Translate that same principle to the work that you're doing within your organization. So having those expert voices are very key and critical in taking the time out to hear out what they have to say, and weighing the pros and cons of different decisions will save you a lot of pain and heartache in the long run, and help you to avoid certain circumstances and situations that may arise. So I hope and pray that this video was helpful for you guys. I just briefly wanted to talk about the importance of having those measures in place to protect yourself. You don't want to put in all this work and you have all of these great ideas and someone comes and steals it, someone comes and takes it, makes it better because they beat you to the punch. And essentially that's what or how I look at certain elements when it comes to protecting your brand identity. You want to make sure that no one can unlawfully sue you for certain things, but also they cannot steal what you have worked hard to build within your organization to serve others. So this is a very general, foundational, introductory video of what this should look like. But my hope in the future is that we can actually teach you guys about what legal measurements and things that you should take as you are trying to establish your organization, as you're trying to build your organization, as you're trying to protect your organization. So please like, please share, please subscribe whatever platform that you are engaging with OCO on. And until next time, try to make the world a better place today.